no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching this show, and we were live on Tuesday, and if you want to get featured in our next one, hey, you got to join us every single Tuesday. But you know what I'm excited about? NFL draft time, baby. And if you want to join our live coverage by Chat Sports, all you got to do, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We're going to be going live on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're ready for the draft, what I want you to do, like this video. I can't wait. I can't sleep. It's all I've been thinking about. And if you're wondering why you should subscribe to Chat Sports for our draft coverage, I mean, this is all you need right here. 3 straight years of being the most watched draft show on YouTube. Analysis on every single pick. We're going to have games, prizes, interaction. If you want to make me drink, Tom drink, anybody from the Chat Sports team drink, or just play with these most ridiculous games I've been working on for two weeks at this point, go ahead, subscribe. The link is below, youtube.com/chatsportstv. First Super Chat's coming in from No Garcia. Mitch, love this show. Keep it up, man. Draft Micah Parsons at 17. If not, hopefully Christian Barmore's still on the board by then. I mean, I think Barmore will be on the board by 17. I've actually talked to some people around the draft community that think that he could fall as far down to like 40 because the defensive tackle class is not all that great. He's a good player. The knock on him that I've heard recently is that he's not very coachable. So we'll see where that impacts his draft stock. But, I mean, the guy that's going to be the higher draft pick, it's Micah Parsons. But no, appreciate the super. Derek Constantine, off topic, but if the Raiders draft an offensive player in the first 3 rounds, the draft is a fail. Even if we get the best offensive lineman, they can't play defense. See, I'm going to disagree with that. Like, if we can get a Rashawn Slater, Penei Sewell, if they were to fall to 17, dude, I would take that guy in a heartbeat. If a guy like Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase fell to 17, I get that they don't play defense, but those type of guys, they don't grow on trees, and I think that they are that talented of a player. And then in terms of a right tackle, you need a right tackle. That is still your biggest need. Like, I get that they don't play defense, but what I'm worried about happening is what I've been saying for months is the Raiders' offense, I think, is going to take a step back this year, and I do think the defense will be better, but if we got a middle-of-the-road offense and a better defense, we're still not going to win a lot of football games. So, like, need a little bit more consistency here. All right, this one's coming in from Bar Win or Lose. Time for the NFL draft. Which 2 players do you want the Raiders to take in round 1? I'll do this based on like the most realistic types of players, and maybe you and Derek should go out for drinks. These guys are on the same thought process here, at least with me. The first guy I'm going to bring up is Micah Parsons. I think he is the most talented player on the defensive side of the football in this year's draft. The reason why he's going to fall down boards is because linebacker isn't the most important position, but if you use him like an edge rusher, you're going to be really happy, and there's some teams that are worried about his off-the-field issues. The other guy is another linebacker/edge. I've actually heard some scouts say that they think he could play a safety hybrid role, something that I loved like Isaiah Simmons last year. But Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoar, a linebacker from Notre Dame, I think he's like the perfect sideline-to-sideline linebacker that's going to be able to work in a Gus Bradley type of deal. So if Joke and Parsons are both on the board at 17, I'm going to be a very happy guy. I won't be happy if they're both on the board and we go with somebody else. I'm just going to be honest with you. All right, so who do y'all think that the Raiders should draft at pick number 17? Comment it below, and what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go through the comments. I'm going to look, and then after the first round, I'm going to go through the video and be like, all right, that guy was right. That guy was right. Sorry, that dude was wrong. So go down in the comments. Let me know. Who should the Raiders draft at 17? Super chat time, Mr. 84 highlights, except, okay, so Julio, except because we are getting one of our best receivers in the league, and you can honestly give Carr some help. So you're talking about Julio Jones here and the trade rumors around him. I mean, you're right in the terms of this. You're giving Derek Carr a true number 1 wide receiver, which, let's be real, he never has really ever had a true number 1 and has actually been able to put up some pretty solid numbers. Do you have Darren Waller, who is your number 1 receiver? Yes. But with Julio and then Darren, I mean, good luck. And then Henry Ruggs being able to take a top off of defense. And then the underneath ability of a guy like Hunter Renfrow, your running attack, with a guy like Josh Jacobs. Like, that takes so much pressure off of a lot of players. It just comes down to how much draft capital do you have to give up. If it doesn't cost a first-round pick for Julio Jones, I do it in a heartbeat. Like, I understand you still got to pay him $15 million in 2021. But if he's fully healthy, he's a top 5 receiver. It's as simple as that. Matthew Alexander, appreciate the super, my dude. What if I Venmo you $3,000? What would that get us? If you Venmo'd me $3,000, I will personally fly you to Chat Sports Studios, and you can come on the Raiders Report for an episode on a Tuesday live show. And if you want me to come out to a city near you and we can have some beers, there you go. It's at Mitchell Renz 365. So Matthew, if that's what you want to do, if you want to come on the show, if that's not good enough, let me know. If you send me $3,000 on Venmo, I'll let you literally pick what you want to do. It just can't be something super ridiculous where I get my channel shut down. All right, let's go to Derek Constantino. Derek Carr is a top 7 to 8 quarterback. I disagree. He's number 12 on my board. If you think we should trade him or replace him, you just don't know football. Great job as always, Mitch. I don't think that you can replace Derek Carr, and I've said this multiple times where, like, the only way I'm going to replace him is if you can upgrade. The only quarterbacks that were actually on the trade market that you could upgrade were Watson. I'm not doing that now because of all the craziness and off-the-field stuff. And then Russell Wilson. But in terms of, like, drafting a quarterback, that's where I'm going to pump the brakes because even if you were to draft a quarterback like Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or Mac Jones, are we really confident in a unorganized offensive line? And I actually think you might be throwing a young quarterback to the wolves because if you go out and draft a young quarterback, that also means like a lot of these other pieces, you're not getting better on defense or on that O-line. Like, I like Derek. He's not the issue. So I'm with you on this. You keep Derek Carr, build the defense, get an offensive line. But in terms of drafting a quarterback next year, I'm actually on board for that. Now, if you guys have a question that I couldn't get to, again, I am sorry. You can always hit me up on Instagram. I am at Mitchell Renz 365. We answer a bunch of questions. But the other reason why I always tell people to, like, hey, man, don't be afraid to hit me up. Like, I want you to get to know me. I had a guy. His name's Maurice. He messaged me on Instagram and said, man, if you could do me a really, really big favor, I'd appreciate it. If you could wish my dad a happy birthday. So happy birthday to Dwight. And I want everyone in the comments to go down and type HBD because I want you all to send Dwight a happy birthday message. I'm a sucker. I was going to sound weird. I'm a sucker for dads. That sounds terrible. My dad's my best friend. Like, that's my dude. So anytime I hear of a kid being like, hey, wish my dad a happy birthday, that's awesome. Raider Nation is family from far. Like, it just, you don't get a better family than that. So shout out to Raider Hambone, or that's Dwight. If you need a new sweatshirt, because when I was looking at the pic, there's a little bit dirt on it. So you seem like a hard-working man, which I'm all about. Message me. I can hook you up with a Raiders sweatshirt from Autumn Abyss. We got you covered. All right, let's go to Rubik. What up, Rubik? Surprise cuts after training camp 2021 like Randall and Owusu-Koramoah last year. Well, my surprise cut guys, who I already talked about in a video, Artie Key and Mo Hurst, they've actually already been moved on from. I'll say Jalen Richard's probably the next up in line, who I think would be a pretty surprising cut that the Raiders decide to move on from. In terms of a cornerback, Keyshawn Nixon is a player to keep in mind. And then Nevin Lawson to me is also going to be the next guy that probably gets the boot. Let's go to Sosa612. Give me a trade back scenario. I'm sorry, I'm reading this wrong. Give me a trade back scenario you'd love and is realistic, please. All right, Sosa. Pump the brakes. It's all good, though. All right, so I wanted to give you guys a trade that I thought was maybe a little bit new, right? That one that I've never given before. So, Sam, you and I talked before the show about a trade in case we get asked. Like, I want to go to this Washington football one, so if you could, please go to that. All right, shout out to Sam. So, the Raiders, they received pick number 19 and the Washington football team's third-round pick. Washington gets pick number 17. I think the reason why you would see Washington potentially do this is for two reasons. Either A, a quarterback falls, or B, they're trying to jump ahead of the Miami Dolphins, whether there's a wide receiver on the board or whether there's another offensive tackle or another pick on the board. Like, that's why they end up doing this. So this is a fun little trade idea that I wanted to throw together. And if you were to do this, the Raiders then would have pick 19, pick 48, 79, 80, and then 104. So when I had these 5 picks here, I was like, okay, how can I get creative? How can I, figure out a way to get guys in and out? So what I did real quick was I threw together a mock draft on PFN. Remember, only do mock drafts on PFN. This is what I got. And I was liking it a lot. I mean, I still got Joke and Liam Eichenberg at 19 and 48. I was able to get Javon Holland. Maybe the steal in this mock was Ronnie Perkins at 80. He was my number 4 edge rusher in this class. And then Jamar Johnson, safety from Indiana. If the Raiders start off with these 5 players right here, shirts coming off, we're going streaking through the quad. Everybody join me. Dallas, Texas, hit me up. All right, y'all, so we are going to be doing a lot of draft coverage here at Chat Sports, and we've been doing just all sorts of coverage, and I appreciate everyone that's already subbed to Chat Sports. If you haven't yet, it's youtube.com/chatsportstv, but we're going to be live for the entire thing. It's like 45 hours straight, technically, right? Like 45 live hours, if you will, and we're going to be starting bright and early on Thursday, about an hour and a half, about hour 90 minutes before the actual draft starts, where we're going to be doing the entire round one. And then we're going to wake up the next morning, come into work bright and early, and get ready to get started for rounds 2 and 3, where, again, we are going to be live. And then probably the craziest day is the last day of the draft, right? Because it's round 4 to 7. But this is where everyone's super tired, but we have a lot of fun. It's a lot more of the drinking gets involved, a lot more games get played. So if you're looking for something to do, if you're watching or looking for some draft coverage, we got you covered. Also, we will get the picks before they come on television. Sometimes we're like 2-3 picks before you see them on TV. That's just a nice little fun little tip there. All right, we got Sal Coronado. As long as Mahomes is in our division, we're doing nothing with Carr. You know, I actually don't 100% agree, and I don't totally disagree with you either. Do I think Derek Carr is good enough to win a Super Bowl? With the roster we have, no. You need to have a roster like with a top 5 defense, in my opinion. Like, you need to have a team that looks a lot like the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm sorry, for a 2-year span, basically where Carr's going to be pretty reasonably priced, I don't know if the Raiders can get it done. So that's why I think opening it up to a young rookie quarterback is a lot more intriguing. However, if you have a guy like Derek Carr and you can build a ridiculous defense where you can get a lot of edge rushers like Yannick Ngakwe's and a Micah Parsons, like, then you can get after Mahomes. And we saw in the Super Bowl, if you can get after Mahomes, you can beat him. But dealing with Mahomes is not going to be an easy task. There's no doubt about it. All right, Phil, you're next up here on the Raiders Report. I like your trade for Jones, but don't you think a conditional second that can become a first would be better since it's a 2022 pick? Yeah, of course. So this is the trade that I brought up during my Raiders rumors roundup here. And if you could get a conditional second, sure. I mean, you could also base it on the fact, like, realistically, even if it was a conditional first, like, if I can get a healthy Julio Jones, I am more than willing to give up that first-round pick for him. If he's not healthy and then it turns into a conditional second, then that's okay. But, like, if I can get a 14, 15-game season out of Julio Jones, I do this trade in a heartbeat. All right, Shane, what up, my dude? What are the chances that the Raiders get Micah/Joke in the first round and Jenkins very early in the second round if we trade up? How many Chucky heads? I think in terms of Micah or Joke with pick 17, I'll give it 2 Chucky heads. I think it's a 50-50 chance that at least one of those guys are there, and I'm hoping that the Raiders are smart enough to take at least one of those guys. In terms of Tevin Jenkins, I'm actually starting to get a little bit more hope because there was a report that came out that some NFL GMs don't actually think that Jenkins is going to go in round 1 anymore. They think that he could actually be the 5th or 6th tackle taken off the board. So fingers crossed in terms of like Rashawn Slater, Penei Sewell sliding down the board, because the more that those two guys slide, the more a guy like Christian Darrisaw slides, the more a guy like, I think Elijah Vera Tucker is going to go down the board a little bit. But the name that some people are saying that could actually get taken above Jenkins, which I don't recommend, is Radons, the offensive tackle from North Dakota State. I talked to a guy who I trust and said he's going to be the 5th or 4th tackle taken, and Jenkins could actually be the 6th. So we'll see. But if we could get him in round 2, dude, I'd be stoked. Let's go to Diesel Power. Are we going to draft another Damon Arnett? I mean, I don't know what you mean exactly by that. Like, if you mean we're going to draft somebody that I got a round 3 grade on in round 1, I sure hope not. If you're talking about a guy that curses at Raiders fans on Instagram and calls them things that I can't even mention here, then I hope not. But, I mean, we'll see. But I think you guys all know probably my least favorite player on the Raiders team is number 20. All right, let's go to Marcus Howard. Hey, Mitch, love the show, but what are you guys talking about saying Derek Carr can't beat Mahomes? He just did with a 30th ranked defense. So, like, you're right, and the Raiders outplayed Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs for 8 quarters. I think the difference is this, though. Like, teams can show up for one game. That's fine. That's football. But in terms of doing it for an entire season long, that's the difference. Like, for us to be able to say, can he beat the Chiefs in the playoffs one game? Yes, you can. The issue is you got to get to the playoffs, and what we've seen from this Raiders team over the last few years is a late collapse. So if it's a one-game series, yes, they can, and that's what they've seen. The issue is I need to see consistency from a full 17 games. Now, 17 games. And I just don't know if we can get that same consistency from Derek Carr. Like, that's the issue. Casey the Sledge Storyteller, last one here. Between free agent acquisitions and Gus Bradley as DC, what caliber defense do you see the Raiders have now with a speculative rank? Okay, so as it stands right now, I'd probably put the Raiders defense at like 19 or at 20. Like, we still need to be able to improve at cornerback. Not having a free safety is still a glaring need, but I'm hoping that with the draft we can get into the top 15. But it's one of those things, like, until I see it, I can't say that we have a top 20 defense. It's just me lying to y'all, and I don't like to do that.